It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I showed off my third or fourth pass blackout fingers with Terry, and they're healing up. It's been probably 4 or 5 days. I can already see that we're not done here, which is fine. I kind of expected that. I think anytime someone's doing this sort of thing for the first time, and not me as a client, because they healed great, they healed easy. Like, I'll get into that in a minute. But I think for an artist, like, it was the same thing when Terry did my ears the first time. It's like, it's pretty hard to get that on the first try when you're not tattooing ears every day, you know, like blacking out lobes and shit like this, and working on the inside of someone's stretched conches and things like this. It's not something that you're going to be doing daily. So, and if you are, you've probably done a lot of it already, and you've become an expert at it. So people are now traveling to see you for this purpose. Something like a Luke Ashley with palm tattoos. If you're not in the terrain very often, you can't expect to know how to act in the terrain. The only way to find out is by trying. And so we could tell the first time that he saturated my knuckles that they weren't solid. And then you try again, and it's like, well, you gotta take a walk. To be fair to Lee, the artist who did my first finger blackouts, he got the ink in the knuckles the best. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this today, because I posted my my color hand rows next to my black hand rows, and like the amount of people who assumed I had laser because my fingers had lightened up is insane. It's like people have no idea about that stuff. But also because it's like, even though so many people follow my social media pages and see these posts all the time, they're only familiar with a certain version of me. Or it's like, if they see the blackout version of me and then they see like this full color guy, or like color tattoo guy, they don't necessarily seem to make the correlation that it's the same person. And so sometimes when I put these like side by sides together, where it's the blackout, then it's the color, a lot of people will think that the blackout is on the wrong side and that it should be reversed, because they can't, like, it's like their mind explodes trying to wrap their mind around, okay, like doing the color after the black. And you get all these crazy, like, almost insinuations. Like, it's not curiosities. Like, the way that they come at it is like the assumption is that I'm doing some trickery, or I'm doing some fuckery or something, and I surely had some laser at something. Like, it's, even though I have been transparent and open about this whole thing on every platform I'm on, I have been banging on the same topic, the same issue, day in, day out. Here I am again doing the same thing right now. I have been very clear and very concise with my message. I've done the long form, I've done the short form of it. I've showed the how the sausage is made. You cannot put enough information out there for people that they will consume it in a way that they're conscious of. Like, you cannot do it. It's like, sometimes I think people are unaware of this, and they go, "Oh, Remy, you've been saying the same things," or like, "You're repeating yourself. You've already said." It's like, you have to have one message on social media. You do. And if you have any more than that, good luck. You can barely get people to pay attention or understand one thing. So stay in your lane always. I can't even imagine trying to sell people on more than one idea at a time. They can barely focus on the one. I've done just this week on my Instagram at least 4 or 5 posts about that you can color over black, and it's still people who follow me are like, you can color over black? And it's like, I don't personally, maybe it's the problem of me being a boomer or like outmoded or something. I'm getting up there. I don't personally follow anyone or anything that I don't understand or haven't looked into, because I don't want to find out that that's a child molester or something. You know, I don't want to be in contact with or supporting someone who could have a whole bunch of bullshit in their closet. And it's not to say that you can ever really know, like, for sure what anyone's doing on their private or in their private life, but like, I want to have a rough idea of the character I'm following. So for me, like, I think I follow like 80 people on my Instagram. Like, it could be less. And I think I follow like no one, like maybe 5 people on my TikTok. So it's like, then again, I barely use TikTok just to make fucking shorts and get the fuck out. But like, I don't understand following people I don't have any interest in figuring out anything about. So if I do follow you, I wouldn't say take it as a compliment, but take it as, I would like to know more about you, and I would encourage people to do that. Like, if you're following someone, you should know what they're about. I don't even care if it costs me several 100,000 followers across all of social media. It's a worthy cost, because I think it's silly to be following people that you're not actually paying attention to or invested in. So, and I think that's also why, like, you'll have it where you'll be like, I don't remember the last time I seen so-and-so. It's like, how much should you care about so-and-so to begin with? You don't know anything about what's going on in their life. How much do you need to be seeing them? Anyway, I thought it was pretty absurd that, like, I'm still getting those kinds of things this far into this fucking thing. It's fucking wild to me. It's more hysterical than it is, like, upsetting, genuinely. It's like, holy shit, people can't pay attention to anything. To anything. No wonder they wouldn't, like, no wonder what I'm doing ain't for everyone. Because you need a lot of attention span and discipline. And I understand that people will be more about their own shit than mine, but even then, I feel like if you can't focus that long, then this ain't for you. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to start peeling soon. Some parts of it probably already have. It's tough to say, I think, because like when the swelling comes down, you see some stuff that was probably never ever really saturated. But yeah, I think it's started to flake a little bit in places. And I think we're going to have a decent result in the areas that we did get into. But if I want it to be more solid, we're definitely going to have to do a different approach on the knuckles, and I'm open to doing it again. I said that in the last video. It wasn't the traumatic event to sit for that it was in prior times. I don't know if that's because I've been through more now and it just doesn't affect me the same way. And it also wasn't hard to heal either, and I was able to use my hand regularly pretty much the second day, and I've even been able to work out. And when you get to this point where it's just dry skin, it's not costing me anything to work out with this. So for the people who are like, oh, it's not even healed and you're working out, it's like, no, this is going to do whatever the fuck it does. I'll have flakes on my hand for the next 2 weeks. That doesn't mean it's still like susceptible to wounds or any of this bullshit. Fingers are super dry, especially mine, where I worked in the kitchen for so long. Anyway, I should talk a little bit about what Rick and I got up to. So we hit this guy at the front of the inner bicep, or front of the outer bicep, and that area that's kind of inner outer bicep. It's hard to show this off always. But thankfully, I'll have pictures in here to do that for me. You can see I'm still a little dry over here from last time. It's a little shiny still. That shininess goes away as it heals, and then it'll be more kind of like this. I have some of it over here too. Actually had a little bit of scabbing over here, believe it or not. Whenever you have that, just dry it out. You don't want to be putting a whole ton of lotion on scabs. The scabs can actually sort of reabsorb into your skin. You can get some of the ink out of those scabs, so don't pick them off. Sometimes when those things kind of naturally kind of go away, your skin heals better in general, and you get some of the ink from that. Whereas if you pick them off, you don't get anything from them, and you're creating an open wound as well. Because usually the scab, if you have scabbing, it's deeper than the surface. So I haven't scabbed with Rick in about a year or more, so it's really uncommon. It's not like I'm like, oh boy, what did he do? It's just these things can happen. So anyway, my first ask yesterday was that we address this, as I feel like the weakest part of this sleeve currently is the fact that his face on the inside was a little harder to pick out. Where we are in one similar tone everywhere, things are hard to kind of pull and push apart here. We have it happening better on the lower arm where we have all this red in the background. And so, like, if we could find a way to put more of that red up top, I think that'd be beneficial. Again, where I'm on Remy React's always giving people advice about the layouts and the way to use contrast and things like this. I do the same thing with my own work, and it's been better with Terry than Rick in a lot of ways for this stuff, because Terry will just listen to me, whereas with Rick, I got to tell him what I want and let him come up with his own answer. Where he is an old dog and he has his way, it's like you can't really just tell him the same way you can tell a younger artist. So that has been a bit of a limiter, because I think sometimes you get tunnel vision looking at things. And I like what we have here. It's not even like, I've said a million times, I may black out the rose sleeve one day. I'll never black out this sleeve, and it's not sunk cost. I legitimately think that this is going to be, like, when we're done, it's going to be an amazing sleeve. There's just a lot to do still. And there's some things that should be done to create more contrast, and at whatever cost, you know. There's some stuff in here that I don't think is up to the level that it needs to be still, and I'll just keep working away at it until it is. And if Rick lost ambition or desire for the project, that wouldn't matter to me either. There's enough there now that I would carry it on with another artist, probably Terry, but not necessarily Terry. Anyone, really, like anyone capable of saturating color. There's enough of that there now laid out that if at any point Rick and I were to not be working on it, I wouldn't be done with it until I was satisfied with it. Much like how my chess piece here, Rick laid it out, but Terry ended up doing the last round of color on it. I've always been a communal project, and to give credit to any one particular artist for the work that's happened on me is silly. So when people will say, well, you don't tag your art, and I'm like, I do tag my artists, but all the time, actually. I tag them all the time where they're relevant, and I talk about them all the time, but neither Terry or Rick would lay claim to this entire project either. They just, I think they both see themselves as kind of like hired hands, or like, temps. It's like neither one of them assume that no one else will ever tattoo me or work on these projects but them. So they don't have as much ownership of it as what people would assume they would have. I even had one guy who was like, well, if your artist's so good, how come they got such small followings on social media? It's like, I've never once said anywhere that these guys were the best artists on the planet. The strongest qualities that both of them share is that they're both interested in seeing what they can do and have open minds. That's really the only superpower at play here, other than like I have an unwavering discipline and patience for this bullshit. You could achieve a similar thing with just about any artist that can pack color, and it's just going to be a process of learning what works and what doesn't. That doesn't have anything to do with, it doesn't have anything to do with me either. This could be done on anyone. I've heard people who are like, but like, what's the likelihood of this on a regular Joe, Remy? And it's like, what does that even mean? I am a regular Joe. I had no fucking handouts. My parents were both fucking poor. My dad died almost 10 years ago. I had loaned him $8,000 6 months prior. These people don't have money. No one that I was around. Like the idea that I was born with some silver spoon and I was able to achieve all of this is insane. I have a desire to succeed, sure, but that wasn't because I had it good. It was probably because I had it hard, and not to be a victim either. It's that stuff builds character. But the idea that like oh well, this wouldn't work for a normal person. It's like, or like with certain artists can't do. It's like those things are not true. Those things are not real. There's nothing like that at play here. Anyone can do this if I can do this. Any artists can do this if these guys can do this. And I have seen pretty well anyone who's tried it has succeeded at it. The people who haven't are the people who haven't tried it. They haven't been open to the process. And by the way, tried it doesn't mean once. It means go, oh, well, that result didn't work. Let's try something else. Especially now where these vlogs exist, this YouTube channel exists. There's so much fucking information on these topics that a lot of artists, if they had an open mind, would be able to listen to these and go, I'll take what he did and build on it. And a lot of them have. I've seen it. It's just, for whatever reason, there's this like unwillingness to listen to other people in this community or to take kind of inspiration in a lot of ways from what other people have done. There's this I know best sort of mindset that comes in, and it's very reductive. Anyway, hoping for a better result with this time. There honestly isn't much to say because we've been over this so many times. There's not a lot to say about the application or anything like this, save for the fact that Rick is out of round liners, and so it was nice to not have to be lined again when we've had that piece lined so many times. That is the third pass of full color over that spot. Obviously, it's not the third pass of black. I don't even know how many times we've done the black in some of these places. But I am hoping for a result similar to this now. And if I can get it all up to this place everywhere, that will be more or less good. And believe it or not, we're not actually completely done up here. There's some stuff still to go where we're going to build it out still and add some more texture and a little bit more color play. But this is more or less the standard, and we have it happening in some places and not others still. So until we get it all up to that level, the grind continues. I'll be talking to you guys again here soon. I'm having my back worked on again tomorrow. I'm expecting to do about 4 or 5 hours, so it should be a lot of progress. Talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.